Welcome to our second segment of. He just scored a touchdown. Good job, Andrew. Welcome to our second segment of To Industry. We were talking about Mike's list previously. He has some interesting points. So if you haven't checked that out yet, take a look at that and then go buy all the games because you have all the money. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about my segment, and they're going to criticize me openly because that's what they do.
Oh, it already sucks.
Oh well,
I think it's the best.
it's the best ever. So I did put mine in in a particular order. Mike said he didn't, and then
Actually,
Tom said he actually did. Yeah. We're going to start off with Andrew is anticipating this. Okay, so because the lack of other great games out in the market during this time period, I have put Tomb Raider in the top 10. Just
Oh my god!
the reason why is because, okay, look, Crystal Dynamics, who have developed this game, they made a good game. Okay, they made a good game, but it's not on the level of expectations that I had. That's why it's not anything higher than number 10. In fact, it barely got out of honorable mentions. There's there's a lot of flaws in it that is not really directly affected about the gameplay itself.
Please tell us.
Okay, we're
just kidding.
No. Okay, it'll be really short. So
This is a top 10 list. I'm just kidding. What's good about the game?
right.
Why is it on your top 10?
So it reminds me a lot of Uncharted, and there was no new Uncharted games this year, so I had to compensate for that. So I put Tomb Raider on the top 10 because it's Uncharted. It really is. It plays like Uncharted. It smells like Uncharted. It looks like Uncharted. It has an ending like Uncharted, and it's Uncharted without all the charm. And that's basically what it is. And I really, really like Uncharted. I know this is completely backhanded, but it's a sound game. And the whole idea of a bow and arrow in that game worked very well. A lot of the other weapons were kind of subpar, but it did its thing. And I appreciate it. So let's carry on before I go off on a rant, because I have an itch.
I actually don't
number
remember.
10.
That was number 10.
I don't remember a bow and arrow in Uncharted. It was just.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like they were able to introduce something like that, and it worked. It made sense. And they introduced it when you were supposed to hunt, and you didn't hunt anymore because you fucking need to. Anyway, off of my rant. Next is Far Cry Blood Dragon. I really enjoyed exactly how you said it. The developers really just went all out. They just did whatever they wanted because they made all their money on Far Cry 3.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want here. And they came out with a cheesy 80s nostalgic game, and it fucking worked. It worked well. And I think that I could picture them around the table saying, hey, how about we just bullshit and did something like this? And then when they made it, they were like, man, we really want to play this. We should sell this. And they sold it, and they sold tons of them. So good job on that. 7th on the list is BioShock Infinite.
7.
I think 8.
I'm trying to hurry up through it. Okay, so 8 on the list is BioShock Infinite. BioShock Infinite is a great game. There's a lot of award shows and stuff out there that gave it best shooter. It's not the best shooter. I understand there's a twist and stuff. If you haven't played the game, go and play it and look at the twist. But even the story itself is not really the strongest story in 2013. It's very strong. I could see where it was going in a lot of it. It definitely didn't make me want to finish the game, and I would recommend a lot of people to play it. So if you're, as a developer, you would want your fans to recommend your game to other people. So it's accomplished that, and that's why it's number 8 on my list.
And actually, since I couldn't remember my honorable mentions, that's actually one of the games that I.
That's what I pointed out.
So, and that was just because of everything you guys have said about it, and now it's free on the PlayStation.
If you have a PlayStation membership.
Yeah, the PlayStation Plus. So I downloaded it, and I'm actually going to end up giving it a shot. Oh, actually, it's free now, but I bought it last month for $14 on Xbox. Damn it.
And just to point out, too, I typically play games on the hardest difficulty, so most of these games that I list, I played on, probably in the mindset that I was really frustrated. So for it to make a top 10 list is really good. It's a good aura to be in, I guess. Next is Guacamelee. Have you guys played Guacamelee?
No,
It's a great
I've
game.
It's
heard about it.
fucking fantastic game. It's basically the Metroid of this generation. It's
That's a bold statement.
no, it is because what it does, if you want to continue into another part of a level or a stage, you actually have to go back and find the power up, and then
It
you
has
can
that
go-
mechanic. Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
would
saying. It
say.
has that mechanic. I mean, it doesn't have like the story and everything like that because its whole purpose is to kind of have that esoteric humor where because it makes fun of memes and things
Oh,
that you see on the
totally.
internet that everyone is in on the joke and we all get it, and that's very clever, and it hasn't been done in the game and setting just as of yet. I think the last time that's been done was in like Batman Arkham City when Joker made a point about Lost in the episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the end of Lost, so that was interesting. Next, I actually finally got a chance to play XCOM, and it actually
And
really
you
is
typically don't like those type of games.
yeah, I don't like those type of games, and I was like, all right, my friend, let me play it, and that's the disclaimer I want to point out is like, I didn't get a chance to beat a lot of these games because I work a lot too much.
What? You have a
And-
job?
Wait, I think I have a job. Where have I been going to all this time? But with XCOM, it's such a strong game, and actually it's really fun. And they weren't joking that you get invested in your teammates.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
when one dies,
You feel it.
you're like, fuck, we're not going to win this war. Fuck. And if you're able to accomplish that in a game, finally, where death is a very strong importance in your not only your mechanic but in your feeling, you've done a great job.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Next is Grand Theft Auto 5. And where is that? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So it's fifth
Wow.
on my list.
Halfway through.
And one of the reasons why, because I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 is a fantastic game. To me, I've played all of the Grand Theft Autos, even the originals as well, and the mechanics are still there. It's a beautiful game. But I'm not one of those people that just rates a game just off of its graphics. You know, it has to really immerse me in that world, and it didn't immerse me on the same level as say like Vice City and San Andreas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, a lot of people really put Grand Theft Auto 4 as like one of the greatest games of all time.
Now to be fair, how far did you get in that game?
in 5,
Mhm.
I played about an hour worth.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, I played the campaign too.
Right.
Because I'm not one of those people that would play like Grand Theft Auto and just go blow shit up.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
the only reason I bring that up is because the things later, like the heist, gets
Right.
so much like it's for me. It brings out the game.
I
It
would
fleshes
believe
it
it.
out.
I would believe
So-
it. Yeah. So yeah, I've only played it for an hour. I mean, maybe my feelings would change afterwards.
Will
Being
probably be higher.
Well, I mean, being a veteran and playing all these Grand Theft Auto games,
Right.
you can see where things are going.
Right.
And San Andreas just kind of fucking blew me away. I was like, damn, this shit gets intense and it gets hard.
Right.
And Vice City has so much flavor in it that you always want to go back to it, and that's why it's one of these popular games in people's lives. Next, this is what kills me. This game, a lot of people left off their list, but it's like one of the greatest platformers, period.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
It's Rayman Legends.
No.
Rayman Legends, you see, he can't even disagree. He can't even disagree because Rayman Legends it's first of all, it's very French. It's like the origin of Ubisoft right then and there, and you can just feel it because it oozes so much whimsy and so much character and so much color in this game. And when you play it on like a high definition screen, everything just jumps out.
We
And I don't really get that whenever you play like a Super Mario game. It just feels like Super Mario. But when you play Rayman Legends, it feels like an art, kind of an artistic painting just moving, and that's something that's very beautiful. And that's another thing. It's a game for adults because that shit is hard. It's a hard game. You will get frustrated, and that's probably why a lot of people didn't put it on their list because it's a hard game. And you can play with 4 people as well. So I have to say yes on that.
Okay.
I like how y'all have no comments.
I know. you had
no,
plenty of.
See, I played.
What about you, Mike?
I played Origins, right? And I was intrigued by Legends. I was just
No, you don't have to spoil anything.
No, it's a good pick, and I totally valid. I totally valid.
I have a list to get.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Next, which is third on my list, is Forza Motorsport 5. That showed me that we're in the next generation in consoles. Just the detail and everything about the car itself is very beautiful. How it feels and sounds, you feel like you can feel that you're racing in a very expensive car. And car games prior to that never gave you that experience where you feel like you're racing something that actually has some weight. And then you're actually in a world that's very beautiful, and no one's actually been able to accomplish that as of yet. So Forza Motorsport 5 is really good, and it's very accessible to a lot of newbies as well, like Andrew.
It's a game I want to check out. I do.
I hear it's pretty addicting, and it's just
it's addicting. You want to get all the cars, and when you get a new car, you really feel like you have an advantage until you get to a point in the races where somebody's kicking your ass, and you want to get a better car. It's kind of hard to drive a Jetta around or something. I don't know if there's a Jetta game. I've been racing all fast cars, whatever.
On my Toyota Corolla.
I will be racing in my smart car. Second on my list is my second favorite game of 2013 is Papers, Please. Papers, Please is a very addicting game. It's one of these PC games that you download on Steam. It's the graphics of it is very organic. I really like it. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but an old lady carrying a gat. That's all I got to say.
Organic or 8-bit?
I'm trying to be kind of artistic in how I say it. Okay, if you want to be real, it looks like shit.
There we go.
Because it's 8-bit. I mean,
there's your organic.
They didn't have the money to be able to make a super graphical game, but it's
a good game.
And it's not the game. I mean, just how they did the colors and everything like that. It was very well made. Lastly, The Last of Us.
Like that.
Yeah, you see how I segue there. The Last of Us is a really great game. I love the sneaking mechanic because I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan. I played on the hardest difficulty. It was frustrating as shit. And everything about the story was so engaging that you really felt for these characters. So anything that would happen to Ellie, you really, really wanted her to do well. And that's a dynamic that is very hard to implement in video games nowadays. So it's for you to actually feel for a character. That whole thing where they say, when is it that a game is actually going to make you cry? And there's been many times where games have made people cry, but The Last of Us has made a lot of, they've done a lot to actually accomplish this. And they deserve all the awards that they've won.
All of them.
All of them. So there's a huge gap between Tomb Raider and The Last of Us, and that's how I want you to envision those games. Only compare those two games. No other games.
Yet they're on the same list.
And I agree with Last of Us. I think actually looking back at that game, a lot of people were talking about, how games can't tell a story.
Right.
And this...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, in this game, I think was one of the first games last year that said, here's a story.
Just to end this segment, I was walking with a friend of mine, and this girl, she doesn't ever play games. She thought games were silly. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. I was like, have you seen this movie called The Last of Us? And she said, a movie called The Last of Us? When is that coming out? I was like, well, it's out already. It's not very well known. I explained the premise to her about it and everything about it. And she was like, man, that shit's fucking awesome. That sounds awesome. I would love to watch that movie. I was like, yeah, but it's a video game. Catch y'all guys later.